time for a rematch 60 years in the making. Big lizard, big monkey, bigger fights, more monsters, less humans. Let's go. Godzilla vs. Kong is the newest film in the MonsterVerse directed by Adam Wingard. It stars Rebecca Hall, Alexander Skarsgård, and of course Godzilla and Kong as they start duking it out around the world after Godzilla starts terrorizing humanity. To say there was hype behind this movie is an understatement. The last time these two major franchise icons were on screen together was 1962, and the result was hilarious, stupid, fun, and a surprisingly good satire on capitalism. But it ended in a way that left a lot of audiences unsatisfied because there was no clear definitive winner at the end. They fell into the water, Kong swims back home, Godzilla never resurfaces, and they go, we can't find him. And that's it. It basically ends in a draw. So there's been a lot of hype surrounding this rematch for a few years, and Kong fans, Godzilla fans have all been wondering who would actually win in a fight. So who wins? I will get into that in spoilers, but the important part is it's brutal, and it's fun, and it's dumb, and it's awesome. Godzilla vs. Kong is Legendary finally realizing what is the major selling point of giant monster movies. It's not the clever writing, it's not well-developed human characters. You know what it is? Big monsters smashing the shit out of stuff. Like I said in my King of the Monsters video, the big reason this franchise has been so successful over the years is because people like seeing big monsters wreck things. And Godzilla vs. Kong has plenty of that, and then some. The fights are brutal, the pacing is breakneck, the visuals are incredible, and the movie doesn't try to be anything other than what it is. Insane, dumb fun. So, in other words, it's everything you could possibly want from a giant monster movie. As usual, the monsters are the highlights here. Godzilla and Kong are arguably more well-developed characters than any of the humans in this film. Not only is this the best these two have ever looked from a CGI perspective, but there is a ton of nuance to both of them. They're extremely expressive, and at pretty much any given moment you can tell exactly what's going on in each of their heads just based on their faces. Kong especially, since he's basically the heart of this film. He takes on a much bigger protagonist role here with his mannerisms and his expressions and the fact that he's intelligent enough to know how to communicate with people, making him feel genuinely like a human at times. He's got this wonderful relationship with this deaf little native girl from Skull Island named Gia, the only good human character in the film, played by first-time actor Kaylee Hoddle. The connection between girl and beast is a fascinating, meaningful one. She's the only one capable of legitimately communicating with him, and it adds a layer of emotion to the film that makes you genuinely feel for Kong. The big guy just wants to go home, and everyone keeps dragging him all around the globe to make him fight a big nuclear lizard. Give the poor monkey a break. Godzilla has a lot less to do here, filling the role of the quasi-antagonist. Make no mistake, every single scene he's in is memorable. He might have less screen time, but there is not a single second of it that doesn't count, and Wingard makes sure that he's bringing the menace back to Godzilla in every scene that he's in. Godzilla is scary here. He's more pissed than we've ever seen him, and it comes out in some terrifying ways. And like Kong, we get a ton of insight into everything he's thinking, just based on his facial expressions and the way he's interacting with Kong during their fights. The fights are beautiful and breathtaking all at once. They're visually gorgeous, non-stop action that's both unflinchingly brutal and hilariously fun, highlighting each monster's signature advantages over one another. Kong's got the agility and tries to break Godzilla's jaw on several occasions, and every time Godzilla counters it with atomic breath. Kong has weaponry, but Godzilla's basically a tank who can take just about any amount of damage and then get up no problem. Much like King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong is chock full of Easter eggs that all the fans of the franchise will really appreciate, and several references to the original King Kong vs. Godzilla, from Kong being carried to Antarctica in a giant net similar to his balloon travel, to a brief but hilarious moment referencing a meme that's been 60 years in the making. It's awesome, and the less that I say about the final act, the better, because if I were in a theater, I would have been cheering. Now, I've got issues with it, don't get me wrong. I mean, not from a logical perspective. The Hollow Earth sequence in this movie just throws any semblance of realism and logic out the window, and I'm fine with that. It's hilarious, it's awesome, I love it. My issues more come from the way that it fits into the MonsterVerse at large, just from a continuity perspective. A perfect non-spoiler example being Ren Serizawa. This dude is supposed to be the son of Ishiro Serizawa from the first two films. A guy who was super pro-Godzilla to the point of sacrificing his own life to save him. But Ren is working against Godzilla, and we're never given even the slightest hint as to why. Ignoring the fact that he's basically a ghost in the movie anyway, being so minor of a character that you forget he's even there half the time. Which really just makes you wonder why they went out of their way to name him Serizawa in the first place if he had no plot relevance. I'm not asking for in-depth character background. Just like a throwaway line, like, oh, I blame him because my dad's dead. Like, I don't care. Something. It doesn't have to be well thought out. Just give me a reason. The storyline surrounding Team Kong works because the entire storyline of theirs is centered around Kong. So as a result, he's part of, or at least near them, for every scene that they are in. And it makes all of their scenes infinitely more entertaining than the Team Godzilla scenes. Millie Bobby Brown, Brian Tyree Henry, and Julian Dennison's characters are just the most boring part of the movie. Not only do they have the most scenes that are not centered around kaiju, but the quality of the writing in this storyline is pretty much carried over from King of the Monsters, which is to say, it's bad. Like, every scene that it cut back to them, I just was like, okay, either go back to Team Kong or show me what Godzilla's up to. I don't care about these three. Tom Holkenborg, better known as Junkie XL, did the score here. Y'all probably know him from the DCEU films. He's done a lot of work for Zack Snyder. And his work here is pretty decent. It's bombastic, it's epic. There are some legitimate bangers, especially during the entirety of the Hong Kong scene. But in the wake of Bear McCreary's King of the Monsters score, everything is just going to fall flat. Nothing is going to compare to that. I don't care who you hire. I don't care how good they are. Holkenborg's new Godzilla theme is fine, but you just can't beat the Ikufube theme. You just can't. Bear McCreary understood that. I don't care how much inspiration you take from it. If it's not the same chord progression, it's not going to be the same. Now I'm going to make a point to say I don't care about any of these issues that much. These are things that would have improved my enjoyment of the film even further, but the film isn't really worse for them. Godzilla vs. Kong provided everything I could have possibly wanted from it and more, including a definitive winner this time. It even made me love and respect Kong a bit more. It would honestly be a crime for Legendary to end the MonsterVerse here, especially since they seem to have finally figured out the perfect formula for making a good giant monster movie. Should you see it? Yes, absolutely. If you're not in the third world country that is the United States, where movie theaters are still like a walking disease trap, and it's safe to go see this movie in an IMAX theater, go do it. You will not regret it. Now let's talk spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie and you care about being surprised, click away now. If not, I'm going to talk a lot about the winners of these fights. 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. So for all of those of you out there who are on Team Kong going, Kong has to win, he's the underdog, he's going to beat Godzilla, Kong put up a good fight, don't get me wrong. He's got heart, he's brave as hell. He earned my respect, and Godzilla's as well, apparently, by that nod he gave him. But you don't step up to the king, and this is why. Godzilla demolished Kong twice. There's just a huge difference in weight class here. I mean, Godzilla's bigger, stronger, more durable. And he proves that on the aircraft carrier. I mean, Kong's punch, like, he stumbles a bit, and then he bitch slaps Kong so hard that he nearly falls into the ocean. So for all of his bravery and all of his ancestral tools, Kong really didn't have a chance here. I mean, raw power just wins in this case. The actual fight in Hong Kong is pretty brutal. I mean, we get to see Kong gets some really solid hits in, manages to stab Godzilla in the thigh with his axe, and then Godzilla proceeds to maul him like a bear. You feel really bad, because, like, I'm not Team Kong, but the guy, he's just trying to stand up for himself and be like, no, I'm not gonna just back down because you're a bully, and Godzilla just demolishes him, dislocates his arm, crushes his ribs, and just leaves him for dead. It's actually really hard to watch because he's so humanized at this point, and we are watching Godzilla literally beat him within an inch of his life. He's crawling on all fours like an alligator and pouncing on him like a bear and clawing him to shit and stepping on his ribs and crushing them, and still, Kong refuses to submit. And that's pretty rad. Godzilla seems to think so too, because at that point he's just like, alright, whatever, stay down, I'm out. At least until Mechagodzilla shows up. Mechagodzilla, in traditional Godzilla fashion, completely wrecks Godzilla. Like, uses him like a toy. The beating we just saw Godzilla give to Kong, yeah, it's flipped now, and we're just watching Godzilla be thrown around like a rag doll. It's not even like a fair fight. It's so one-sided that it's painful to watch. And this version of Mechagodzilla is pretty fucking terrifying. I mean, He looks like Skynet designed a Godzilla Terminator. There's none of that sleek chrome bullshit from the 93 version. Mechagodzilla is basically inspired by Kiryu in that he's powered by the remains of another dead kaiju. In this case, he's being remotely piloted telepathically via Ghidorah's skull. And the implication is that when that special Hollow Earth energy source is introduced to Mechagodzilla, that powers up Ghidorah's consciousness enough to take over and fry Baby Serizawa's brain. I wish the movie had clarified that, because it is not clarified at any point that it is definitively Ghidorah controlling it. It's like, maybe that, maybe an AI. Most people who've seen the movie and like are familiar with the franchise seem to think that that's what's going on. I agree. I wish the movie had, made it more evident. So yeah, Ghidorah's back, maybe. Piloting a robot version of Godzilla, maybe. Or maybe it's just a AI gone wrong. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? Point is, Mechagodzilla's here, he's a dick, and he's beating the shit out of Godzilla all over the city. Even goes so far as to, like, laugh at Godzilla before, trying to kill him in the same way he killed the Muto in the 2014 film. Kong shows up, and they win through the power of tag team, friendship, and throwing Mechagodzilla through a building together. It's awesome. If you told me back when the Godzilla 2014 movie came out that a mere 7 years from now we'd be seeing King Kong and Godzilla in huge, glorious, big-budget CGI beating the shit out of Mechagodzilla and nearly getting killed in the process, I would not have believed you. Kong saves Godzilla, Godzilla saves Kong. We acknowledge that Mechagodzilla would have absolutely annihilated each of them individually, and that the only way they won was by working together through the power of friendship. They work much better together as allies than enemies. Kong drops the axe and squashes the beef between their species. Godzilla goes home and agrees to rule the surface. Kong rules the Hollow Earth. Everyone's happy. Y'all, this movie just exhausted me. It's exhilarating and breakneck and so much fun. I've seen some people saying that they're disappointed by it, and I'm like, alright, your opinion's valid and all, but I don't know what you were expecting. It's Godzilla vs. Kong. This isn't a movie where we're going to see, like, big, crazy thematic significance. Watch the big monkey and the big lizard hit each other and shut up. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe. There's a Patreon link down in the description and a Kickstarter link down in the description. You can donate to either or both. I don't really care. I appreciate it either way. You could be like any of these cool people right here. Please consider donating. I'd really appreciate it. Even $1 would help. We do all sorts of cool stuff on this channel. Monthly movie watches, gifts sent right to your door. We're making a movie now. The Kickstarter link is for that. If any of that interests you, please consider donating. I would really appreciate it. Even if you don't, though, thank you so much for watching anyway, and I will see you all very soon.